I went to the hospital to pick up my best friend's premarital checkup report, only to find Lucas working the clinic shift. He flipped through the groom's report: low sperm count, poor motility, possible infertility. I smiled sweetly. Perfect. No need for protection then. Lucas' face darkened instantly. When Emily got hospitalized, I accompanied her and volunteered to fetch her fiancé's medical report. I lingered outside the 6th floor urology department, pretending to mutter just loud enough, truly a premium specimens report. Especially the virility section. My report got snatched mid-sentence. Dr. Lucas emerged radiating that signature "you owe me 8 million" energy. He skimmed pages carelessly. Insufficient quantity. Subpar quality. High infertility risk. My smile widened. How convenient. We can skip condoms. His jaw tightened. I thought you had higher standards. Exactly why I dumped you. I shot back. Hospital gossip spread faster than COVID. By the time I reached inpatient care, nurses were buzzing. Is Dr. Lucas really, you know? But he's so handsome. I voted him hottest doc last month. I couldn't resist, girls. Listen, pretty rapping doesn't guarantee good contents. A nurse squinted. How'd you know about Dr. Lucas? I'm the ex-girlfriend. Collective gasps erupted. Thus the rumor evolved from Dr. Lucas might be impotent to Dr. Lucas X confirms ED diagnosis. Returning triumphantly to Emily's room, I found her munching apples with her leg elevated. Took you long enough. Just saving innocent girls from wasting time on defective merchandise. Emily side-eyed me. Saving them or trimming Lucas' fan club? Both. I admitted failing at proper ex etiquette. Instead of disappearing like a ghost, I kept haunting him. Maybe he'd crawl back someday. Emily poked my forehead. You scoring that Ice Prince was miracle enough. Him begging for you back? Keep dreaming. Cinderella. Knocking interrupted us. There stood Lucas, looking illegally hot in his white coat. Sophia. We need to talk. Panicking. I death gripped Emily's hand. Or I could say it here. His threat hung heavy. Nurses eavesdropped outside. Public humiliation loomed. Emily bit her apple and pried my fingers loose. Traitor. In the stairwell, Lucas caged me against concrete walls. One hand braced beside my head, the other in his lab coat pocket. Holiest uniform. Most unholy stance. The input was unexpectedly alluring. I heard you've been telling everyone I'm no good in bed. Ivy Peterson, swallowed nervously, forcing an ingratiating smile. No. That's just how they interpreted it. So what now? The stairwell light cast shadows from his long lashes. His sharp lips dangerously tempting. My pulse quickened. I'll tell them they misunderstood. His face loomed closer. Warm breath grazing my ear. Only those with first-hand experience get to judge. Want to test that theory? His words fanned across my neck, heat flooding my body until my cheeks burned. As his lips descended, I realized escape was impossible. This was his workplace after all, surely he wouldn't go too far? Yet, part of me hoped he would. Squeezing my eyes shut, I braced for impact. The expected kiss never came. Instead, his mocking chuckle echoed. Pathetic. Humiliated. I stormed back to the hospital room where Emily Davis smirked knowingly. Can't stop spring rain or a woman's heart. That ex of yours? Stubborn as a mule returning to dried-up pastures. Who wants him anyway? Emily leaned in conspiratorially. Mark my words, you two aren't done. I perked up. Think he still can't forget me? More like you can't let go. She pierced through my denial. What if he's the one begging to reconcile? That'll happen when polar bears develop a taste for penguins. I'd never noticed my best friend's talent for rhyming couplets. Since Emily's upcoming wedding meant vacating our shared apartment, I'd leased a cozy 2-bedroom. Exhausted from moving boxes all day, I dragged my suitcase into the new place after dark, desperate for a hot shower. The universe had other plans. The water turned icy mid-lather. Remembering the agent mentioning the landlord lived next door, I wrapped myself in a towel and knocked. The door opened to reveal sweatpants-clad legs. Blinded by the towel on my dripping hair, I stammered, "Hi. I'm your new tenant across the hall. Our water heater died. Mind if I borrow your shower?" Silence. "Never mind. You're seriously answering doors dressed like that?" That voice. Lucas Mitchell. "What's wrong with my outfit? Not everyone has a gutter mind like yours." He yanked me inside, rolling his eyes. "I meant you'll catch pneumonia," says the pervert. I shoved past him toward the bathroom. Emerging freshly showered, I found Lucas reading on the couch, wire-framed glasses adding intellectual allure to his sharp features. Ready to provoke him as usual, I froze when he spoke without looking up. "Ginger tea with brown sugar on the sink. Drink it before you catch cold." The steaming mug warmed my hands. My former boyfriend still remembered how to care for me, but our earlier encounter demanded payback. I settled beside him, sipping deliberately close. "Landlord, did you break the water heater on purpose?" Lucas looked up at me, and I suddenly realized my bathrobe had loosened. I quickly tightened it. "No. You totally did. You just wanted to bully me into coming to see you, didn't you?" I continued my provocative act, earlier in the stairwell. "I thought you'd put up more of a fight." "Who knew?" Lucas grabbed my foot that had been brushing against his leg. "Are you trying to provoke me?" Seeing the dangerous glint in his eyes, I gulped down the brown sugar water and bolted from the kitchen, glancing at my flushed toes. I grinned. That was exhilarating. Next time I'll push even further. I swear I didn't plan this. Lucas had given me both keys, but in my hurry, I'd forgotten them all. Tentatively knocking on his door, I called, "Lucas? It's me again." Silence. "Open up." The door suddenly swung inward. He yanked me inside, pinning me against the wall. "You really think I won't follow through?" His damp hair dripped onto my shoulder, his skin carrying the same citrus shower gel scent I'd used earlier. My heartbeat thundered in my ears until the entire world seemed to pulse with it. Turning my face away, I mumbled, "I forgot my keys." After a weighted pause, Lucas started retreating. I grabbed his shirt hem. "Can I stay here tonight?" He closed his eyes briefly. "The guest room sheets are still packed. There's a new set in my bedroom. Go get them." His minimalist bedroom starkly contrasted my plushy-filled space. Calming sandalwood notes enveloped me as I opened the closet. Not seeing the sheets, I turned to ask, and froze at the notebook on his desk. A partially visible photograph peeked from its pages. My fingers trembled as I slid it out. There I was, asleep at my desk during our relationship. He'd secretly taken this. My breath hitched. Did this mean he still? Last time I pursued him. This round, it's his turn. Modern women don't settle for uneven scoreboards. Chuckling at mental images of Lucas awkwardly courting me, I jumped when the bathroom door opened. Couldn't find them? At my nod, he studied my expression before handing over the linens. Then, to my surprise, he made up the guest bed himself. I trailed behind him. "You're such a sweetheart. Pretty boy. Can I hire you as my live-in maid?" The door slammed in my face before I finished. Humph. Stubborn Sundara. The lock clicked behind me. I'm the one who should be worried here. Next morning at the airport, exhaustion weighed my eyelids. Dark circles shadowed Lucas' eyes too. My head kept sliding down the car window until the glass suddenly descended, jolting me awake. I smacked his arm. "Are you insane, Lucas?" He kept driving calmly. "Tired now?" Who kept chanting "Don't sleep all night"? Okay. That was me. But honestly, I only bear partial responsibility for this whole mess. My biggest mistake was accidentally grabbing the wrong door handle during my midnight bathroom run. Cut me some slack though, it was my first night staying here. Who told you to lock the door anyway? If Lucas hadn't locked it, I wouldn't have gotten stuck. If I could have opened it normally, I wouldn't have kicked it in frustration. If I hadn't kicked it, I wouldn't have been wide awake afterward. And if I hadn't been wide awake, I certainly wouldn't have dragged him into discussing medical case files. The consequences of reviewing urology cases together? Me growing increasingly curious. Lucas getting progressively more irritated. And the sky gradually lightening until morning came. Thus began our wonderful day at the crack of dawn. Today marked Ethan Taylor's return from abroad. After years apart, I found myself genuinely missing my partner in crime. Though Ethan was technically a mutual friend between me and Lucas Mitchell, those two shared a deeper bond as childhood friends. I'd originally been that thirsty fangirl using Ethan to get closer to Lucas. I often pitted Ethan's perpetual third wheel status, especially after I successfully bagged Lucas and left our trio with only one singleton. Eventually, I couldn't bear to keep exploiting him somewhere along the way. I'd actually started considering him a real friend. Compared to Lucas' controlling tendencies and constant opposition, Ethan's puppy-like obedience was refreshing. The kind of guy who'd buy Shanghai anti-milk tea if ordered, never daring to substitute Hashang Mama brand. This naturally made me suspect Lucas only befriended him for the easy bullying opportunities. Eager to defend my protégé, I immediately slung an arm around Ethan's shoulders upon seeing him. Where's my welcome back present? Kiddo? Got gifts for both you and Lucas. Mine better be bigger than his. Sure thing. Let me introduce my junior colleague first. Only then did I notice the girl trailing behind him. My eyes darted between them. And you two are just strictly academic siblings, Ethan clarified hastily. The girl smiled brightly while greeting us each in turn. When she reached Lucas, her gaze lingered noticeably before shifting away. Since Ethan's family home abroad hadn't been cleaned in ages, we decided he'd crash at Lucas' place temporarily while the junior colleague stayed with me. After settling them in, Lucas and I went grocery shopping nearby, tossing vegetables into our cart with forced nonchalance. I remarked, "That girl's quite pretty. Passable. You two seemed chatty. Hard to notice our conversation when you were up front clinging to Ethan like a koala. You know how Ethan and I are. Same old. Nothing new." Lucas abruptly stopped walking. Only then did I realize I sounded defensive, replaying the exact argument that caused our breakup. Anxious to explain, I moved closer, but he cut in coldly, "Right. Just friends." He ignored me the entire walk home. Lucas had always been possessive. Back when we dated, even casually complimenting another guy's looks would darken his mood instantly. Our final fight erupted over his paranoid accusations about a lab partner's intentions, which I dismissed as baseless jealousy. Now even Ethan triggered his ire. The storm cloud over his head remained when we returned, prompting the junior colleague to whisper, "What's wrong with Lucas?" Hating how Lucas rolled off her tongue, I shrugged. "He's moody. You'll get used to it. But he's so hot." She sighed, staring at his retreating back with the same starstruck expression I used to wear. My pulse quickened. "Hot? Please. He's way past his prime." "Sophia, do you like him?" "Me? Of course not." I glanced guiltily toward Lucas, who showed no reaction. Sophia let out a relieved sigh. "That's great. Now I can pursue him without holding back. Actually, he's not easy to chase. Bad temper, disrespects women, and has terrible hygiene." To emphasize my point, I casually tossed an empty snack bag onto Lucas's pristine floor. "No problem." My eyebrows shot up. "Even that doesn't bother her? Do all girls fresh from studying abroad have this much tolerance?" Lucas's cooking skills were excellent, yet he deliberately piled all my favorite dishes in front of Sophia. She beamed while thanking him repeatedly. I assumed ladies prefer these dishes, he said with practiced charm, making my chopsticks clench between my teeth. Leaning toward Ethan, I whispered, how about you make Sophia your girlfriend? Ethan blinked in confusion. We're really not like that. You could be. We're definitely not. No talking during meals. Lucas's firm voice ended our hushed debate. I seethed silently. Since when does he get to chat with her while I can't talk to Ethan? The hypocrisy made me mentally curse Lucas 1,000 times, though I dared not voice it. Even during our relationship, his anger had always intimidated me into silence. Are you eating that? Lucas tapped his chopsticks against mine, still spearing the fish head. You've turned it into fishing net. That night, Sophia went to borrow something from the neighbors. What could a girl possibly need from two grown men at this hour? But I had no right to object. By 11 p.m., she still hadn't returned. Lying in bed after showering, I kept visualizing Lucas's smiling face during their afternoon conversation. Frustrated, I threw off the blankets, then froze. What claim did I have to confront him? Suddenly I understood how Lucas must have felt seeing me with senior colleagues before. I'd never considered his feelings, arrogantly assuming my disinterest was enough. Yet despite countless admirers drawn to his looks, he'd never made me feel insecure this way. Tears welled up as regret washed over me. I yearned to explain myself but lacked courage. Ironically, I now envied Sophia's boldness in openly pursuing affection. The faint click of a door interrupted my thoughts. Someone moved stealthily toward my room. Why would she come here? Had she discovered our past relationship? My pulse quickened until remembering Lucas kept a spare key after the locksmith visit today. The approaching footsteps grew clearer. I clutched the blanket tightly. I know you're awake. Lucas flipped on the light and sat on my bed, studying my face in the lamplight. He murmured, "Been crying?" His voice made the tears I'd struggled to contain spill over. Weren't you having a grand time with that cute underclassman? Why bother with me? Lucas sighed, wiping my cheek with his thumb. When did I seem happy? You were smiling this afternoon. And you stayed talking with her so late. Ethan and his group were discussing their project. She didn't want to leave, so I let her take the guest room while I came here. She lingered because of you. Enough. Lucas pulled me into his arms. You care but keep lashing out. Why should I care? What right do I have? Suddenly he cupped my face, eyes intense. What right do you want? His lips silenced me with unexpected gentleness. My cheeks burned as he murmured, I'll keep distance from others, including Ethan. Pleased with my flustered reaction, he teased, being this sweet makes me want to misbehave. His unfairly handsome features hovered closer as he pinned me beneath him. Though anticipating his next move, he simply patted my head. Sleep now. Disappointment flickered through me. Wasn't he the one who'd vowed to prove himself earlier? When I clung to his arm, he disentangled himself with soft promises, retreating to the adjacent room. At dawn, I padded barefoot into Lucas' room, forgetting we were technically exes. Last night's tenderness had reawakened my longing for every shared moment. His sleeping face remained sternly perfect, brows slightly furrowed. Tracing his forehead, I slipped under the covers. He stiffened initially, then relaxed upon recognizing me. Miss me last night? What do you think? His sleep-roughened voice and pinkening ears betrayed him. I giggled. Missing your girlfriend isn't a crime. After a pause, Lucas said heavily, We can't be together yet. Why? His vague explanation shattered my resolve. If we couldn't reconcile, what meant last night's tenderness? The photos in his journal? I bolted up, only to freeze when he called my name desperately. At least, put on slippers. The floor's cold. By breakfast. I'd composed myself. So he'd rejected my veiled confession, no big deal. When Ethan arrived with the underclassmen, she approached contritely. "I'm sorry. I didn't know you and Lucas, don't be," I said evenly. "We're exes. Pursue him if you like." Lucas' grip tightened on his coffee mug, but he stayed silent. Ethan hurriedly ushered the girl out as tension thickened the air. Our place was cleaned up yesterday, and my junior already found an apartment. "We'll head out first, I'll go with you." I stood up. Today was Emily's discharge day. As a military spouse without parents nearby and her husband unavailable, I had to be there. 4 weeks. Lucas and I had managed to perfectly avoid each other despite living next door. I wondered if this counted as unspoken understanding. The wedding day arrived. Standing by the altar, I scanned the guests for Lucas. Emily said she'd sent him an invitation. He'd even contributed to the gift, promising to come if possible. When choosing bridesmaid dresses, I'd deliberately picked the strapless mini. Knowing Lucas' personality, he wouldn't stay indifferent seeing me like this. I wanted to witness his jealousy, imagined him pulling me aside to growl "go change," draping his jacket over my shoulders. I'd planned to catch the bouquet wearing that jacket and confess to him, if any of those scenarios happened. But none did. Maybe he hadn't spotted me yet. Once I became the center of attention during the ceremony, he'd react. My ill-fitting shoes kept slipping, but I kept searching the crowd. Emily threw the bouquet my way despite my headshake. I let it drop. Lucas never showed. He wouldn't even grant a final meeting. Our so-called unspoken understanding was just him avoiding me. I'd braced for anger. Silence. Lectures. Prepared apologies and promises. Never imagined he'd simply disappear. The hollowness choked me. That night I outdrank the bride. Hearing my drunken ramblings about Lucas, Emily called him. One answer: "Are you still responsible for Sophia? If not, I'll never bother you about her again." Through the haze I heard his voice. "Where is she?" When Lucas took me from Emily, he frowned. "Why so much?" I collapsed against him. "Liar!" He knew I turned into a clingy drunk. Home became my octopus act. "Water," he said. "We'll go together." I piggybacked him everywhere. "Now I need the bathroom." "Go ahead. You're tall. I can't see. Cover your eyes." The moment I loosened my grip, he slipped inside. Finding myself alone, I wailed, "Lucas is a liar. Said he'd never leave but ran away." He rushed out. "I'm here. Let's wash up and sleep." "No. You'll leave when I sleep." "Won't." "Then sleep with me." "Okay." Liquid courage made me fumble with my clothes. Hearing his breathing deepen gave me perverse satisfaction. "Lucas, weren't you desperate to prove yourself? Lucas, didn't you say you couldn't hold out much longer? I love you. Lucas Mitchell. Lucas. Please." The marks on my body confirmed last night wasn't a dream. When I woke up, Lucas wasn't in bed. I rushed to his apartment next door using his spare key, only to find empty rooms and missing luggage. The icy realization hit me while our passion still lingered in the air. He'd already left. My trembling hands found the deed on the table. Both apartments now under my name. Those documents he'd sweet-talked me into signing during our intimacy. I'd been too lost in him to notice. Emily's call came through. "Well, did it work?" How could I explain? We'd slept together, yet he'd vanished. "Just a fling," I muttered. "Come to my wedding," Emily insisted. "My fiancé's bringing his military buddies. Maybe you'll find someone new?" My mind flashed to Lucas's heated whispers against my neck. Would he care if I met those soldiers I'd once swooned over? I'd always believed our stubborn pride kept us apart. That if I reached out first. But now? "Sophia?" Emily pressed. "Okay." I heard myself agree. Blind dates. Family setups. Countless attempts to move on all failed. You can't stay single forever, Emily argued. I clutched my medical file tighter. We'll see. Months later at the hospital, I lingered near radiology under pretense. The wheelchair figure rounding the corridor froze my breath. All rehearsed composure shattered as I sprinted forward, dignity be damned. Lucas! I screamed at the top of my lungs. Passers-by and medical staff turned to look. The man's back stiffened visibly, ignoring their curious stares. I rushed over. Is this why you rejected me? Lucas didn't answer, glancing at me before turning away. The middle-aged woman beside him urged impatiently. Let's do the compatibility tests first. You can talk afterward. She began pushing his wheelchair toward the procedure room. I caught the medical terminology and grabbed the wheelchair handle. Lucas. Look at me. What's really going on? I demanded. After tense silence, Lucas relented. Mom. Let me talk to her. I'll go in right after. The woman hesitated but released her grip. When he turned the wheelchair to face me, I collapsed into his arms, sobbing uncontrollably, fear, relief, and months of pent-up emotions pouring out. His fingers gently combed through my hair. Don't cry, sweetheart. Let me get this over with. Okay? I clung tighter, terrified he might disappear. Emily touched my shoulder in concern. Easy there. Remember your condition. Lucas cupped my face, his thumb wiping my tears. It's just routine tests. I'll explain everything afterward. I promise. I memorized every detail of his face before they took him through the double doors. During the agonizing wait, I pieced together why he'd broken up with me months ago, but the organ harvesting revelation made no sense. The 2 properties he'd transferred to me alone could have bought 20 kidneys. When they wheeled him out pale but conscious, I followed silently to the hospital room. His half-brother lay connected to dialysis machines nearby. The truth unfolded through his mother's detached explanation: genetic predisposition to kidney disease. Desperate measures for her firstborn. My heart broke imagining teenage Lucas discovering his existence as a medical contingency. The childhood neglect explained everything: his defensive walls. That desperate intensity when we first met. Take me outside, Lucas requested weakly as twilight fell. I wrapped his shoulders with a hospital blanket on the bench, our hands intertwining beneath the wool. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm not angry. Just, why didn't you tell me? His bitter laugh carried through the cooling air. That I'm essentially a spare parts repository? My brother told me when we were 6 that I only existed in case he needed something. Dad protected me until his accident last year. After we broke up, I stopped caring what happened. I kissed his temple fiercely. You're mine now. No more life-altering decisions without discussing them first. Charity had limits. I'd be damned before letting these vultures take another ounce from him. 1 kidney today. What next tomorrow? My arms tightened around the man who'd finally chosen himself. Chosen us. If his brother wanted his heart or brain, should he compromise because of family ties? Besides, they seemed to harbor no familial affection whatsoever toward Lucas. We'll pay any amount, but we won't donate. Okay? Lucas stroked my hair, murmuring his agreement. The hospital room stood empty when we returned, compared to the meticulous care his brother received. Lucas appeared pitifully neglected. My heart ached as I brought him home, terrified he might disappear like that night. I clung to his arm stubbornly, keeping my eyes open despite exhaustion. He sighed helplessly. You're carrying our child now. If not for yourself, at least consider the baby. You knew? His gentle nod made my breath catch. If you don't want to keep, I pressed my fingers to his lips. Don't say that. The baby can hear. From now on, you'll take proper care of us both. No more self-destructive nonsense. I repeated this like a mantra, terrified he might waver. If you ever think like that again, I'll raise our child alone forever. Let them be called fatherless while people scorn me as shameless. We'll endure society's contempt. My tirade ended when Lucas's kiss silenced me. Never again, he vowed against my lips. Morning light revealed warmth where he'd lain, but the bed stood empty. Flashbacks gripped me as I bolted barefoot through the house only to find Lucas on the patio. Phone still in hand. Relief flooded through me. Must you always run without shoes? He scooped me up, exasperation lacing his voice. Can you blame me after last time? Leaving me with empty rooms and disappearing acts? Never again, he whispered, the apology now familiar. Over breakfast, he announced. Eat first. I need to visit the hospital. I'm coming, I insisted. The sight of Lucas's brother lying frail and his mother's sudden aging should have stirred sympathy. It didn't. Lucas, your mother's suffered so much. Mrs. Mitchell wept dramatically, though her crocodile tears couldn't fool someone raised on daytime dramas. Lucas handed tissues stone-faced, his resolve unshaken. When manipulation failed, she turned to me. Normal people only need one kidney. Why don't you donate yours first? My bluntness stunned her. As her wails about maternal guilt crescendoed, I observed coldly. Lucas looked away, pained. Only when her performance exhausted itself did I speak. Mrs. Mitchell. Relationships require mutual care. Lucas is mine now, my husband. Our child's father. Medical bills we'll cover. But touch him again. My petite frame straightened, voice hardening. A sheltered woman like you shouldn't test what I'm capable of. Lucas honors your motherhood, but I've walked darker paths. Her shocked expression might have been comical had our circumstances been different. When your eldest passes, if you still wish to linger, I'll ensure your remaining years are comfortable. In the car later, Lucas's lingering gaze made me blush recalling my bravado. His chuckle warmed the air. I'd forgotten you've always been my fierce little tiger. Back when Lucas was being bullied by his classmates. Getting stuck with chores that weren't even his responsibility. I couldn't stand it. I marched over and stood tall in front of him, confronting those jerks until they scattered. Only after they left did I realize how ridiculously handsome this quiet guy behind me was. Blushing, I asked, "What's your name?" And that's how our story began. The next day, the hospital called. Mrs. Mitchell had checked her eldest son out. He passed soon after. Then she swallowed a bottle of sleeping pills, clutching her favorite child's hand as she followed him into death. Through the funeral arrangements, Lucas remained eerily composed. When I approached him, words failed me. He looked up and squeezed my hand. I'm okay. His voice was flat, just realizing how little I mattered to her. His mother had poured her entire existence into her firstborn, not even sparing a backward glance at her youngest in her final moments. This isn't your fault. Doesn't matter now. I've got you. I hesitated, the secret burning my tongue. He noticed immediately. Sophia? That pregnancy report you saw, it was Emily's. I'm not. The lie I'd used to stop him from donating a kidney now tasted bitter. Instead of anger, relief softened his features. I know. Then why? He pulled me against his chest. Heartbeat steady under my ear. Having you is enough. We can have kids later, or not. Just stay with me. The proposal came without warning. My dad had suspiciously removed his prized fishing trophy from the living room aquarium. Mom stocked up on all Lucas's favorite groceries, treating him like royalty while I got side-eye for breathing too loud. That night, as our parents went square dancing, we sat in the backyard gazing at the moon. Sophia Carter. Lucas suddenly knelt on the grass, ring glinting in his palm. I'm begging you, give me a family. Before I could process this, Our entire crew erupted from the bushes, my parents, Emily, Ethan, even Ethan's bubbly junior colleague turned girlfriend. Their chants of "say yes" drowned out my shocked laughter. Through tears, I nodded. Lucas slid the ring home, murmuring, "Witnessed by family. Bound by heaven, you're stuck with me forever now." He wouldn't release my hand all night. Not even while driving. When I complained about sweaty palms, he grinned. "Shy about hand-holding? You weren't this modest in bed last night." I swatted him, face burning. "But seriously." He interlaced our fingers on the gearshift. "We'll need to tone down the bedroom Olympics soon." "Why?" "Unless you want our future kid writing therapy essays about hearing dad's bad jokes through the womb walls." The engine roared as we sped toward our uncertain tomorrow. Hands permanently fused, two broken people building something whole from the pieces. It took me a moment to process before gasping. "Are you saying I'm?" "Pulse check suggests yes." I suddenly remembered Lucas had minored in Chinese medicine during college. His insistence on holding my hand still earlier had been him taking my pulse. The next day's test confirmed it. Watching Lucas's beaming face, I couldn't resist mischief. I nuzzled into his arms, cooing in a soft voice until his breathing grew ragged. When he flipped us over with smoldering eyes, right as he was about to lose control, I murmured. "The doctor said no intercourse during the first trimester." His gaze turned molten. "I know. There are alternatives." After several rounds of this game, I conceded defeat. These battles always left me more flustered. Lucas's palm rested on my still flat stomach. When I covered his hand with mine, his fingers immediately interlaced with mine. I closed my eyes contentedly. The man I loved with all my soul loved me just as fiercely. Nothing could ever tear us apart.